that kind of thing. Anybody who has a presence, it makes sense to be on Twitter. It's a vile cesspool of a platform some of the time, because when you give everyone a soapbox, it can amplify the unsavoury as well as the sweet.
But I do try and keep a sort of carefully curated online identity, as I think everyone does. If I have a friend who I know has a certain opinion or an identity, and if I think that I'm going to necessarily hurt them or our friendship, I won't necessarily post something.
Lately it's been, are people gonna hate me for this? Because I have said some things that were intended to be jokes but may not have come out that way, because it is hard when it's sort of writing on Facebook and it's mostly text. It's hard to sort of have a tone. But in some ways I do want there to be a tone, and I do want to make people a bit angry.
I think it's very easy to have that persona as a facet of your own personality. Certainly our actions online influence our actions offline, just due to how integrated it is with our lives nowadays.
Sometimes I get messages from people being like, why would you post something like that? That's so untrue. Why would you think this? I got a lot of those kind of messages during the abortion bill, and people messaging me being like, I thought you were a Christian, why are you supporting the murder of children?
Usually when I'm doing that, I think about how would I feel if this came up in a job interview, and it really depends on who you're friends with.
I sort of go off on a rant, but it's only usually with close friends who I know share very similar opinions. I don't think I could do that with people I know less well, or with people that I know completely disagree with me, but I don't have to necessarily feel the full consequences of it, in that people aren't going to yell at me or throw a punch or something if they're very angry about something.
I know I've gone back and deleted things occasionally, not actually things that I necessarily disagree with or am ashamed of, just things that I think from an objective perspective might be misinterpreted.
Activist has maybe lost a bit of its weight in some ways. Acts of activism are a bit more watered down, I guess.
Some people would be like, yes, this is amazing in real life, and some people would probably just stay quiet and stay out of it.
On social media, I've had the privilege of being attacked on social media usually it's by user profiles that don't have a profile picture attached to them, a certain amount of numbers in the username.
For me, I post the things that I'm like, I believe this, I believe this. And even though I'm I really like a lot of these movements, and when I see these movements happening, I'm like, yes, I love this, I support this, I'm in this. I'm not posting because I'm movement. I'm posting because I'm I genuinely believe this, and I want people to know about this. Up until recently, I had particularly one guy on my Facebook who was polar opposite political spectrum to me, because I was I don't want the algorithm to mess up, I don't want the algorithm to work, really. So I kept him around, because I knew that anything that he posted would be something that I firmly disagree with, but I wanted that side of things just so that I'm actually informed. People don't understand how to find reliable sources and distinguish on the internet what is real and what is completely fake. You see one article and it's I'm passionate about this now.
In terms of politics, it's a swirling maelstrom of opinions from both sides of the political divide that are both amplified in their own way.
On the whole, young people who admit to having a political persona are still trying to navigate what this means for them. They're more comfortable sharing their opinions with like-minded friends. Rosie and Sarah both said they've had arguments over social media that have turned real-life friendships sour. They seem to be drifting away from group identification. Their own internal motivations are what's guiding them in what they post. Rosie and Hugh, who are younger, were more concerned about future employers judging them based on their political social media posts, but Harry and Sarah were more aware of algorithms and how it shapes their news feeds and their worldview. In a sense, a political persona is agreed to be something that's becoming more prominent in 2019, but a lot still feel like they're walking in the dark.